You know, we have some new subscribers thanks to that Peter Gabriel video. The previous video we did was a Peter Gabriel video, our first Peter Gabriel video on this channel. And so I thought for this week's song review, we would do a Peter Gabriel-ish tune, Carpet Crawlers, or The Carpet Crawlers, or The Carpet Crawl, which I just found out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I was always confused about this song title because I thought it was Carpet Crawlers or The Carpet Crawlers, but we have a version, there's a lot of live versions kicking around called The Carpet Crawl, and I think on Seconds Out it's called The Carpet Crawl. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is that because of the truncated version, the fact that Phil didn't sing that little intro, the Lamb's Wool intro that Peter did on the record? I think that's why it's called The Carpet Crawl, because I have a lot of bootlegs on vinyl where it's referred to as The Carpet Crawl. So maybe that's like Phil's version. Interesting interview. If you keep up with John Edgington's videos, his YouTube channel, who we've had here on the show and interviewed all about the making of that BBC documentary and his conversations with the band. He was talking with Phil. It's a video he just released recently, and he was talking with Phil about the making of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And he kind of alluded to the fact that Phil doesn't like to sing that record in the later years after Peter left and he became the lead singer, with the exception of In the Cage and Carpet Crawlers. And they talk about Carpet Crawlers, about how it's a beautiful song. It's a melodic song, and that Phil really enjoyed singing. I think I Know What I Like would be a similar Peter era tune that Phil kind of took on as his own. It's actually very similar to I Know What I Like in the sense that I don't have a preference for Peter or Phil singing this song. And I can't say the same for all of those crossover tunes. I Know What I Like in Carpet Crawlers, I think Phil, it just fits his voice so well. And so to me, whether it's Peter singing this or Phil singing it, I enjoy it nonetheless. Which leads me to the 1999 version, and we're not going to talk about that today. I think we'll do a separate song review about that. I love that song, and quite frankly, as a younger individual, I think that was maybe the first time I'd really noticed or heard that song was on that 1999 Greatest Hits package. We'll talk about that another day, because I know that they were in different locations recording it. Beautiful, beautiful song. Carpet Crawlers was the second single from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Counting Out Time being the first, which is such a weird single to be the first single. If I'm not mistaken, it was Counting Out Time, because that's their most Beatle-esque song of all time, really. And it's not a representation of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway at all. And in a way, neither is Carpet Crawlers. And so if you heard Counting Out Time on the radio, and then you heard Carpet Crawlers, you're like, oh, what a pretty record. I should get this record. And then you might be surprised, disappointed, I don't know. But those two are obviously the most accessible tunes on this record. So it was released as a single in April of 1975. There's a couple theories about the meaning of it. And as always, I love for you to leave a comment to let me know what you know, or what you've read, or what you've heard Peter say, or what your interpretations of the lyrics are. There's kind of maybe a cult theme concept going on, that the main character stumbles upon some sort of cult. There's also this idea that it's a metaphor for fertilization, where all these sperm are moving their way towards the egg, which is going to make it a challenge for me not to think about that next time I hear the song. We'll talk about The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway as a whole another day. I don't feel like I'm ready to do a review on that. I really need to spend a good year. I need a good vinyl copy of it. I need that like half-speed remaster, because I have an old version. So I need to really sit with it for like an entire year and like study it before I comment on it for a review. So that won't be anytime soon. Having said that, The Carpet Crawlers is my favorite song on the album, and I don't think that'll ever change. There's some really interesting stuff on there. There's some underrated songs like Anyway. From a musical standpoint, I love this song. From a lyrical standpoint, I don't really care what lyrics mean. It's a great melody. It's sing-alongable, so I don't really care. I mean, think about a comparison song that, I mean, because we'll talk about the tours in a second, how they ended up closing with this song a lot. It reminds me in a way of Take Me Home melodically. And even that song is super creepy, right? If you know what the lyrics mean, that song is kind of creepy. And so Carpet Crawlers lyrically, I really don't care what it's about. It's just a beautiful song. Because this is a Phil channel, let's highlight the drums for a second. What just a locked in tight groove. Reminds me a lot of the Cinema Show. Just a nice groove. And Phil was so good at doing that, is that when the song was straightforward, he would shake it up a little bit and do a not so straightforward drum groove. Whereas when the song was maybe a little bit more ethereal and hard to pin down, he would lock it in with a nice little groove, which is kind of cool. And I think the drums on the song are really cool. really beautiful. So after the 99 album, the Greatest Hits album, when there was like the redo of this song, I feel like the band kind of revisited it, because that a few years later, when they did the 2007 tour, they revisited this song that hadn't been performed live like in a consistent manner in the 90s and in the 80s, really. Or late 80s, certainly. And so bringing it back, and then bringing it back at the end of the set in 2007 was really bold. And I think that's when a lot of us were like, oh yeah, this is a standalone, beautiful song, very much like Take Me Home. It closes out the concert incredibly well. No matter what the lyrics are about, it's super emotional. And so using this tune as an encore in 2007 was unreal. And I feel like they had to do it again on the latest tour. I mean, I honestly didn't think they had to. I feel like they could have maybe done something a little bit more. They could have picked another song to close out on the latest tour that was just as emotional. I don't know what that would be. Maybe Throwing It All Away. Maybe Turn It On Again. Maybe Follow You, Follow Me. I don't know. But I feel like this song took on new life after it started being played at the end of the shows in the 2000s, because before that, it was often quite early in the set, which always reminds me a little bit of how Phil would do Against All Odds early in his sets. But Carpet Crawlers was often very early. I have some bootlegs on vinyl and some digital bootlegs where it comes in at like second or third, like after a big intro of songs, they would play this song, which is kind of weird to bring in like their one and only ballad of the, of the 70s, but whatever. Okay, so now it's your turn. You tell me what you think about this song. What's your favorite version, by the way? Is it Seconds Out? Is it the one from The Lamb? Is it the 99 version? Is it one of the versions that Phil has sung over the years? Maybe it's the One in Rome version from 2007. Maybe it's the version we just heard a couple years ago. What's your favorite version? And do you have an interpretation of these lyrics? If it's weird, I don't want to know. I don't want that picture in my head when I listen to this song, because I love this song. Thanks for watching.